Welcome to Chai Pe Kharcha, where we have conversations on personal finance among four NRI professionals working at tech firms. Think of these like water cooler chats you have at the office. Only this time, you will have Ishan, Madhvesh, Rohit, and Siddharth as colleagues you will be listening into. Before we get started, a quick disclaimer. We are not financial experts. The content provided in this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. Always consult with a qualified financial professional if you need financial advice. Welcome back. We will continue from where we left off in the last episode with Avinash. Hope you enjoy the show.
So let's go a little bit deeper into that. Singapore, for example, does not have capital gains tax, right? So any gains that you make on your equity investments, they are all coming into your pocket. So now, as an NRI, I want to invest in India. I want to invest in Singapore. I want to invest in US. How do I manage my money in a way to maximize my returns? क्योंकि US में tax rates are pretty high, India में tax rates are pretty high. इफ आई एम लकी इनफ कि मैं सिंगापुर में रह रहा हूँ, जितने भी दिन यहाँ रह रहा हूँ, व्हाट इज व्हाट इज एन आइडियल एलोकेशन फॉर मी इन टर्म्स ऑफ पार्किंग माय मनी?
No, so taxation, I just explain one कि सिंगापुर में taxation ग्लोबल इनकम पे नहीं है. लेट्स से यू इन्वेस्ट इन इंडिया तो इंडिया का एलटीसीजी
राइट
तो भरना पड़ता है. लेट्स से इफ यू इन्वेस्ट इन इंडिया म्यूचुअल फंड्स, सो इंडिया में म्यूचुअल फंड में इन्वेस्ट किया, इक्विटी म्यूचुअल फंड्स में तो 1 लाख के ऊपर जो गेन्स है उस पर
राइट
एलटीसीजी भरना पड़ता है. नाउ देर आर म्यूचुअल फंड्स इन सिंगापुर ऑल्सो, इंडिया फोकस फंड्स हैं, बट यू डोंट हैव द काइंड ऑफ ब्रेड्थ इन टर्म्स ऑफ प्रोडक्ट्स जो यहाँ पे है इंडिया में. So you won't get a small cap fund, a focus fund, a flexi cap fund. Funds like that are not available there. Those are funds which are index focused. Let's say there is an SGX Nifty focus fund जिसमें top. So if you invest in those funds, then I think the capital gain tax won't apply. But then if you invest in India by repatriating here and then investing, then LTCG apply होगा. But the differential here is you won't be able to generate that extra alpha there. अगर आप small cap fund यहाँ इंडिया में लेंगे, it is giving, just for example, this is not an advice, कि let's say it is giving roughly a 15 odd percent return. And कोई SGS Nifty का fund वहाँ पे it is giving like 12 odd percent return. So that 3% alpha you won't get in Singapore. And even if you pay off that 10%, it is 15 with 13.5, 1.5 tax भरेंगे. But that 12% there is like tax free. तो 1.5% का differential आएगा. So it is like a trade-off. You need to understand what options I have and then proceed with taxation की किस में कितना लग रहा है and stuff. But I think broadly, if you invest, even if you repatriate here and invest in India, I think you won't be making a loss.
बट
That
what
is
about
my
currency exchange rate? So generally speaking, dollar चाहे whether it's US dollar, Singapore dollar, whatever, it strengthens against the Indian currency. So वो जो 1.5% का differential अभी आपने बताया as an example, will that also not get impacted by the currency fluctuation?
yeah. So अभी इसमें if you are investing lump sum and see SGD का track record ऐसा है कि in the from I think September or August 2021, August 2021 till Jan 22, SGD rallied I think roughly 10-15%, if I'm not wrong. But before that it was kind of flat. Right now also it is flat. So to assume कि SGD हर बार appreciate ही होगा and वही पेस से appreciate होगा, I think that is not true because global money dynamics बहुत change हुए हैं. तो if you think कि हर साल में 3% उसका appreciation आएगा, that is not always correct. There might be years where SGD is flat. So वही differential, I just give a number. Small cap funds have given upwards of 18% also in India. as per today's data. So in that terms, it is your call ultimately कि वो difference, is that differential justified? And again, when you invest in one shot, अगर आप let's say lump sum investment कर रहे हैं तो currency का फर्क आएगा
Okay.
बहुत ज़्यादा. So let's say you invest 10 lakhs today and after 5 years you find कि इंडिया का मार्केट में I got a CAGR of like 10%, and that period the currency depreciation was like 2% per annum, then you might find a difference. But when you do something like an SIP, I think listeners will understand,
Yep.
systematic investment plan. So में क्या होता है कि you invest every month, so you are not investing in one shot, and your SGD returns also get averaged, your Indian returns also get
Okay.
averaged. You can understand what I'm saying, that you put
Yep.
$10,000 today, अगले महीने भी 10,000 SGD or like that. Every month आप डाल रहे हैं, so you are also not losing out on your Singaporean appreciation, SGD appreciation, and you are also not losing out on Indian equity market
Got it.
appreciation. So दोनों जगह it is like a win-win for you. But yeah, again it is a trade-off अगर आप lump sum.
I think just to sum up the initial question, the question from Rohit was ki, is there a template method for someone sitting in Singapore to do investments? I think the answer is, and Avi, do correct me if that's not what you intended to say. Answer is there. It's really personalized. There is no template. It varies from individual to individual.
Yes, absolutely.
So that, right? Okay. Okay. So I have one more question on a topic of discussion that we have had in the past, and a discussion that was also going on in the podcast episodes in terms of real estate. Can you talk about NRIs buying real estate in India and what things they should consider?
Yeah. So liquidity is again the first part, because when you buy real estate, you cannot buy it in parts. If you invest in, let's say, something like bonds or uh, electronic assets, there you can invest in parts. But real estate, mein you need to invest lump sum, 50 lakhs, 70 lakhs, 1 crore, or whatever is the amount. So liquidity is one aspect which you need to consider. Second is taxation, because if you are buying land in India and selling, you are applicable for taxes here, as in whatever slab it is. So that is one aspect. And third is कि if you plan to change assets also, अगर real estate से shift करके कहीं और भी डालना है, तो then that is also a task and management of that asset, because real estate is again a physical asset. अगर आप land लेके भूल जाएंगे तो घोसला का घोसला भी हो सकता है, as in somebody might end, some mafia might end up on your, you might not even know कि वो land चला गया. I'm just giving a funny example, but that movie if you see, you will find कि वैसा होता है. तो लैंड एक फिजिकल एसेट है, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक एसेट्स आर इन योर कंट्रोल, यू कैन सी, यू कैन डू बाइंग सेलिंग एट द क्लिक ऑफ अ बटन. बट वो लैंड के केस में या प्लॉट के केस में या रियल एस्टेट के केस में, देयर इज ऑलवेज अ रिस्क ऑफ दैट थिंग. तो दैट इज समथिंग दैट यू नीड टू फोकस ऑन कि इफ यू हैव समबडी इन इंडिया डिप्यूटेड टू मेक श्योर कि वो सब चीज़ें सही है, लैंड ठीक है, as in all the compounding has happened and stuff, and somebody who can manage the buying selling part on your behalf, then it is okay. But I think NRIs should understand कि over exposure to one asset is not good, because land में भी cycles होते हैं, real estate में भी cycles होते हैं, वो भी ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ ऊपर ही ऊपर प्राइस जाता है. 2015 to 2020 real estate markets in India were bad. Right now there is a good appreciation. So I think broadly, and every market has that, bond markets में भी cycles होते हैं, equity markets में भी cycles होते हैं. So you need to understand कि वो cycles भी आएंगे. That liquidity part is also there, taxation part is also there, management part is also there, physical management of the asset. And accordingly you need to take a decision कि वो asset में मुझे डालना चाहिए and कितना डालना चाहिए.
Yeah.
Actually,
So-
I follow.
Yes, go for it.
Well, we did touch upon this point in terms of
Uh-huh.
like रोहित
Go on.
कुशवाहा's ideal portfolio क्या होना चाहिए, and वो तो definitely understood it depends from person to person. But if we have to suggest at some till some point, we can do it yourself kind of a portfolio, and then we will need an advisor. Where you touched upon like insurance, term insurance and health insurance. उसके अलावा इन्वेस्टमेंट के साइड पे भी ऐसा कुछ है क्या कि पहले ये 2-3 चीज़ खुद कर सकते हैं? फिर then we can get a help of advisor to fine tune the portfolio or like build a better.
Yeah, there is. Now, I would not like to come across as a promoter of specific products, but as a disclaimer, this is not a promotion. Just to, so I'll touch upon different markets. Let's say अगर आपको bond markets में exposure चाहिए, different, bonds of different companies, because there are two markets, right? Equity market and bond market. So bond markets में first time investor हैं, so you may, take help of good managed funds. They can be anything. Then you can buy bonds of well-known companies. as Tata का bond लिया या HDFC Bank का bond लिया. So their safety aspect is also there. So DIY, if you are doing, you can start with the safest of the stuff. Either you can go through a fund or you can go through these specific options. This is in no way a promotion of any of the bonds. I would like to make that as a disclaimer. Even I don't own those, but you can opt for those if you are comfortable with them. Equity markets में, so as I said, standard products are like mutual funds, standard products है, PMSs है. If you are a beginner, you don't understand anything, you can start with those. As and when you get the feel of markets, market का volatility experience होता है, you analyze portfolios of mutual funds and stuff. Then probably you can move to stocks, because stocks में you are yourself the fund manager, right? If you take a wrong decision, the entire portfolio can drag down. So to start off, you can start with these funds as a beginner, and they are actually good if you analyze. And as and when time progresses and you understand about different markets, you can go through direct investments, direct bonds, FDs में भी जैसे corporate FDs होते हैं, so bank FDs होते हैं. So you can analyze कि bank versus a corporate, how much differential I'm getting. You can go with some company for a 1 year FD kind of a thing. Try it out. Risk कितना है, credit rating कितना है and stuff. So what I essentially covered was how you can progress in your investment journey. When you say कि advisor कब चाहिए, I think beyond the point when you think you cannot keep track of things, and it can be across assets, because equities में invest करने के लिए भी, as I said, you need cross currency, cross asset knowledge. तो that is something wherein you can think of an advisor कि मुझसे इतना news flow, let's talk about news flow. News flow equities में बहुत matter करता है, right? So अगर वो आपसे track नहीं हो पा रहा है, या fund specific performance track नहीं हो पा रहा है, you have, let's say, 15 mutual funds and you think कि अब I am not able to keep a track. Tracking अगर आपसे नहीं हो रहा है, you are thinking कि I might not be very sure how my portfolio will perform, and I would like to have some level of consistency in returns going forward, then probably you can go for an advisor, because returns में, in everything in life, consistency is key. Warren Buffett is also built on consistency of returns, and so consistency is main thing. चाहे फिर वो कोई भी asset हो.
Okay, cool. So I think we'll probably start moving towards wrap up. So two questions. So first one is, as an NRI, let's say you're talking to someone whose eventual plan is to come back to India. In that scenario, what should be the total allocation in terms of keeping money in India versus keeping the money in the foreign country?
अगर इंडिया में आने का प्लान, if he wants to come to India and he is very sure of the time frame after which he wants to come, let's say 10 years from now or 5 years from now, whatever, he should ideally figure out कि उसका इंडिया का आज का कॉस्ट ऑफ लिविंग क्या रहेगा. लेट्स से he thinks कि if I go today I will manage by 1 lakh a month, and if he's coming after 10 years, if you assume, let's say, 6% inflation, he would need 2 lakhs a month then. तो उसके लिए what assets he needs to build, that is the calculation that he would need to do, and वो 2 lakh उसको कितने, so let's say he is 13, 40 now. He plans to return at the age of 50 in India. As I said, today he needs 1 lakh. After 10 years, he would need 2 lakh rupees. Now, from his age of 50 till his age of, let's say, 85, 35 years, he would need those 2 lakhs plus inflation adjusted amount. तो उसके लिए 50 में कितना एसेट बनाना है? And when he comes here, that is the calculation that he would need to do. So उसके लिए कौन सा कितना liquidity he should have, what assets he should choose, what is the taxation again, all these aspects again. Based on that, he should take a decision on what to go for. So you need to make these calculations and accordingly decide how much to invest in India, depending on, and once that is clear कि इतना मुझे यहाँ लग रहा है, accordingly you can then take a decision कि overseas में कितना रखना है. Because अगर इंडिया आना ही है तो इंडिया में इन्वेस्ट तो करना ही पड़ेगा, तो ही तो यहाँ पे वो सब जस्टिफाई होगा कैलकुलेशन. इफ लेट्स से योर अर्निंग इज 1 crore एंड अगर आपका 50 लाख में पर मंथ में यहाँ काम हो जाता है, then probably the remaining amount you can think of diversifying overseas.
Makes sense. Cool. With that, I think we'll move to the last question. You mentioned news flow in some of your previous comments कि यार equity में news flow पे काफी ध्यान देना पड़ता है. I agree. So current news flow is basically saying कि या तो US में recession आएगा, and then the other side of the news flow is saying कि कोई recession नहीं आएगा, we'll get like whatever soft landing. Or what is your opinion? Do you think there's a recession coming? Number one. Number two, how can investors, in your mind, prepare for any potential recession scenario? What is NBC
So
style question,
recession,
by the way? What?
no, I'll give you a viewpoint on that also. See, recession or no recession, nobody can predict because जब आप नहीं सोचते हैं तभी
Okay.
recession होगा. Because everybody was thinking कि 2023, 2022 में recession आएगा, कोई recession नहीं आया US में, right? So when you least think about it, recession might happen. The current state of affairs in US, because it is the global leader, is that the job market is strong, there is good demand and stuff, and rates are not increasing now. The US Fed rates are, basically plateaued out and pause हो रहा है 2 बार से. So increase नहीं हो रहा है. And if you also see the projections that the US Fed releases, FOMC जो होता है ना, Federal Open Market Committee, you will see that the rates are trended downwards from like 2025 onward, probably. So next year से थोड़ा बहुत कट वगैरह चालू होगा. And जो भी पॉलिसीज यूएस फेड इंप्लीमेंट करता है, जो भी रेट हाइक्स, उसका डिलेड इफेक्ट आता है कभी भी. लेट्स से अगर आज रेट हाइक किया तो सडनली इकोनॉमी पे इम्पैक्ट नहीं आएगा, आफ्टर 6 months वो आता है, बिकॉज इट इज अ डिलेड इफेक्ट. इट हैपेंस इन एवरी इकोनॉमी. हमारा आरबीआई भी रेट हाइक करेगा तो 6 months बाद इफेक्ट आता है, बिकॉज बैंक रेट्स गेट चेंज्ड एंड स्टफ, एफडी रेट्स एंड लेंडिंग रेट्स एंड ऑल. तो रिसेशन आएगा या नहीं आएगा वो तो किसी को पता नहीं. कोई कह रहा है कि माइल्ड आएगा, कोई सॉफ्ट लैंडिंग, हार्ड लैंडिंग, नोबडी नोस. इवन आई डोंट नो. Even Warren Buffett does not know. Probably he knows. When you least expected things will happen, because that is a risk that is an unknown risk. Nobody knows. And if it happens, is it beneficial for us as Indians, Indian investors? It is, because globally equity as an asset class, and let's say even Bitcoin and stuff, it is all dependent these days on global money supply. So give you an example. लास्ट मार्च, अभी मार्च 23 से ऑलमोस्ट अगस्त 23 तक मार्केट्स में रैली आया था. इट वाज ऑल ड्यू टू एफआईआई इनफ्लो, एज इन द फॉरेन इन्वेस्टर्स पम्पिंग मनी हियर. नाउ व्हेन यूएस रेट्स हैव इंक्रीज, बॉन्ड यील्ड्स हैव इंक्रीज, मनी बाहर गया, दे हैव मूव्ड मनी आउट फ्रॉम हियर. सो ग्लोबल मनी सप्लाई, यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि यूएस में रिसेशन आके होगा क्या. रेट कट्स होंगे तो लेंडिंग अच्छा होगा, सो पीपल विल बोरो मनी. FIIs might invest more in India, albeit gradually. I'm not saying suddenly. So there, a recession is actually good for us. There might be some slowdown initially in our markets, but whenever there has been a recession, most likely the outcomes have been good for us.
Makes sense. So the message is stick to your investment plan, is it?
Yeah, and with your question for how to protect yourself, I think the best answer is asset allocation. Don't put all your
Right.
eggs in one basket. Don't go all out equity, don't go all out bonds, don't go all out anything. Have so that is a standard answer actually, but that is actually a good answer because and it depends on individual risk appetite. Because if you ask me, I am
Okay.
all out equity. I don't have anything in bonds. I don't have anything FD because my time frame is like 15, 20 years. I don't even bother checking my portfolio because I know कि वो अभी मैं देख के भी क्या कर लूँगा, right? Down है so I don't want to withdraw. Up है तो I don't want to withdraw. It is all on paper. I don't require that. So what is the point for me to check it? Recession भी आ गया तो down हो जाएगा. That is a 1-2 year scenario. उसके बाद में 3 years बढ़ जाएगा, so बढ़ जाएगा. If I need that money, I'll track it and make sure कि कब withdrawal करना है. But लग ही नहीं रहा है. Goals ही 20 साल वाले हैं, तो फिर अभी देख के क्या
Makes
करना है?
sense.
So asset allocation, you should have goals should be very clear. That is why point out goals more कि वो clarity रहे तो फिर life is very easier. And financial में I think one point which I like to highlight before we wrap it up कि फाइनेंशियल प्रोडक्ट्स बहुत सारे हैं एंड लॉट ऑफ पीपल कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी इतना कर डालते हैं कि यूएस में भी डाल देंगे, सिंगापुर में भी डाल देंगे, वियतनाम मार्केट में डालेंगे, इंडोनेशिया में विल पुट मनी, चाइना, यूरोप एंड एवरीवेयर, इंडिया में डालेंगे, करेंसीज. बट द इजियर यू मेक एंड आई एम नॉट सेइंग इंडिया में इन्वेस्ट करो, हैव अ लॉट ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटीज इन यूएस आल्सो. इट इज वर्ल्ड्स बिगेस्ट मार्केट. इंडिया इज जस्ट अ 3-4 ट्रिलियन डॉलर. दैट इकोनॉमी इज आई थिंक 10-15 टाइम्स मोर. तो बट इतना भी कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी, इतना भी सो पीटर लिंच, इफ एवरीबॉडी नोस, देयर इज अ वर्ड कॉल्ड डाइवर्सिफिकेशन. DIWORSIFACATION. तो इतना भी डाइवर्सिफिकेशन मत करो कि फाइनेंसेस ही वर्स हो.
Got it. I think that's a very key and I almost like a timeless message. You read it in books and you read it in blogs. So thanks for reminding everyone about having goals, having a plan, having asset allocation, and sticking to it. I think that's basically the best that anyone can do to maximize returns, protect against recessions. Like, I think that kind of takes care of everything. Cool. Thank you so much, Avi, for joining us today. This has been extremely insightful, very interesting conversation. Would love to have you back at some point and have like more conversations on different topics. I know our listeners probably missed Ishan today owing to some technical difficulties. He was not able to make his wonderful voice heard on the podcast, but we'll be back featuring Ishan in another episode very soon. With that, we'll close this out today. Thank you everyone for listening and stay tuned for another fresh episode of Chai Pe Kharcha very, very soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you.